All right. You already know what time it is. It's Sunday night and it's August 18th, 2024. Welcome to the Mean Gene Show. And let me tell you, folks, it's going to get real here because we're getting closer to the start of the NFL season, week 2 of the preseason. But guess what? This guy's not really a guest because this guy followed me around in Las Vegas forever and a day, and he knows his stuff. He's one of the most successful podcasters out there doing sports. And he also won our fantasy football league last year. That's the Sports Kings Fantasy Football League. So he's here today, Jacob Meadows. What's up, Jacob?
What is up, Mean Gene? How have you been, man? It feels great to be here live in studio, brother.
Hey, it's good, man. I had to think twice about bringing you in here because, number one, you kicked everybody's ass in the Fantasy Football League, and I just don't like my enemies this damn close to me. But I had to bring you in here.
Dream Team adjacent, baby. I had to make a come.
Oh,
You needed me here, man, because as the reigning champ, I was ready to light that fire for you, because maybe you can give me a run for my money this year, man.
And money you did win, by the way, last year. You
It was
took
nice.
all of our money.
Oh,
Also, my man back there on the wheels and steels, my producer, AJ. AJ, how you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good. How about y'all?
We doing good. We noticed that when he let us in the building today, he was smiling because the Cowboys won.
Oh,
he was real
the
proud of
Cowboys
the
won
Cowboys.
week 2 of the preseason. Yeah,
it was a Super Bowl for
you
Trey
guys
Lance,
get like
man.
you guys get individual championships, just like the Lakers got the the in season tournament champions. There's a week 2 banner that they're going to be hanging up in Dallas.
For everyone listening, when I walked in the building and talked about it, I told them it's just a preseason. So, I mean,
Okay. All right, AJ, man, we are ready to get down today. This is going to be a great show. Look, we got Jacob here. By the way, the name of Jacob's show is called The Coach's Quarter.
Yeah, I have my own personal production. We are the Coach's Quarters. It's the logo on my shirt today. Thank you all. Thank you for the shout out.
Hey,
Thank you for
got
anybody
you.
that tunes in.
Got you. So look here. Okay, so we're going to get into week 2 of the preseason. We're going to look at some of the games that were played on. I think this thing started, Thursday night? You had one game. You had 13 yesterday. You had 2 yesterday, and then you got 2 tonight. As a matter of fact, I believe the 49ers and the Saints are about to kick off in Green Bay and Denver, so we'll get you caught up on that. But for the most part here, in this first segment, we definitely have to talk about the hottest damn team going into 2024. It's those Houston Texans, man.
Houston, let's go,
Oh,
baby.
my goodness. So look here. I just think one of the toughest things that D'Amico Ryans and that coaching staff is gonna have is to trim that down to 53. When the first, second, third, fourth, fifth string defense, everybody scored a touchdown. It
Oh,
seems like.
man, they look so good. The Giants were just giving them the ball, man. So, it's difficult to trim your roster when everybody's showing out at a level that
Exactly.
it's willing that they could start for 31 other teams in the league. And that's what it looks like right now.
And it's a good thing you brought that up because, as we get like next week is week 3, the final preseason
Mm-hmm.
games, and you hear a lot of coaches and GMs talk about this. Some teams will have a difficult time cutting
Yeah.
players. Some you could have only so many on the practice squad.
Sure.
But a lot of these guys know that they're playing for other teams.
Mm-hmm. The preseason's literally a highlight tape so that they can go. So it's a tryout so that everybody else can see what they can do, and it allows them to move on. So yeah, this is going to be one of the most interesting off seasons for not just off season but preseasons for the Houston Texans because you're going to have to hope that talent gap shows itself so that you're able to trim the roster when everybody looked good in training camp. Everybody's looked good so far in the preseason.
After yesterday's game, I just got to know that coaching staff is like scratching their head trying to figure out,
no
okay,
kidding.
what is that third string really going to look like?
No joke.
So-
yeah. Once he's up against real competition.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I
man.
mean, I know, but it was pretty good yesterday. So anyway, all right. As always, we like to let you know how you can watch the show, listen to the show. Of course, if you're driving around H-Town right now, you got us on 97.5. But if you're sitting at home, if you'd like seeing us, then you can always hop on YouTube.com. And we always like to wave for everybody out there. So, and we're also on Twitch, too. So anyway, how about this? So let's kind of just get into yesterday's game between the Texans and the Giants. I tell you what, so we talk about C.J. Stroud. Look like he's gonna be where he needs to be. How about 70,000 people at a preseason game?
Preseason game? Yeah, man.
Is that What?
That's nuts. H-Town's showing up this
Good
year, man.
Lord.
That's why those
So-
ticket prices went
Woo.
up.
Yeah, I mean that's impressive. So the Texans 2-1 on the preseason. You know, if you're keeping score, keeping the records, and they beat the Giants 28-10. And you know, it's nice to see some of the starters out there now. But I can tell you what, the Giants are in trouble. Daniel Jones, how the hell do you throw a pick six and if a veteran quarterback like that, that was you think you're looking at a rookie quarterback would do that.
Yeah, reminiscent of Sam Darnold when all those reports are coming out that he was seeing ghosts on the field. It's like Daniel Jones is seeing ghosts. He's just looking people off that he's not supposed to be, and that pick was bad. You just have
And that was first string offense against first string
correct.
defense.
He was playing starter.
Right, right,
this is-
right.
It's almost like this is a taste of what's to come for the Giants this season, and you have to press the panic button if you're a Giants fan. But as a Texans fan, things feel real good right now.
Yeah, I mean that was just a great game yesterday, and you look at how about Devin Singletary made his way back into town.
Hey, and he looked
A guy
pretty
that I
good.
had on my fantasy team last year.
Yeah, but I had him on one of my other fantasy teams last year. Yeah, I like Devin Singletary. I liked him in Houston. I liked that he got some work against us and he didn't look terrible. But I don't think that he's going to be enough to save the Giants.
No, I think the Giants got some serious problems. But look, you know, the Texans scored in every quarter except the third, which it didn't really matter. But you know that defense. How many touchdowns did the defense?
It was the defense had 2 touchdowns
Oh, my
that game,
goodness.
right?
Yeah, I think it was too. Look, some of the passes that Daryl Stingley Jr. Oh my goodness! I knew when they drafted this kid, it was going to be something special.
Something special.
Um,
And now that we moved Jalen Petrie back to the nickel,
Mhm.
and a position that he is a lot more comfortable in. And I think that we're going to see a lot more Jalen Petrie moves like we did against the Giants, where he had an interception. Like I think it's really going to be able to unlock his ability to play in this defense because he seemed out of scheme prior, and moving into the nickel is going to put him somewhere where he's a lot more comfortable. Mean Gene. So I think that's going to be a big thing for the Texans this season.
I think what people like to see in the preseason, especially when you make the decision that you're going to put your starters out there, I think they want to see what they saw in the Texans yesterday, to be able to move the ball downfield on an opening possession, just like you just picked up from last year.
Yeah.
Those were the expectations, and that's what the fans got to see.
No regression. The fans got to see that, maybe there's not a sophomore slump for Stroud, or maybe the sophomore slump's not going to be as large as it may have been for other quarterbacks previously. You get to get a feel for what that first team offense is going to be capable of doing, even if it's on the bad days. Like preseason, you don't have a lot of practice. You don't have a lot going on yet. You're not, real games against other teams outside of joint practices. So when you see that first team offense able to move the way that they are, it gives you an understanding of you.
I mean, they get down there, they don't score, but then Daniel Jones
Driving. Yeah.
makes it. Then you get to see the defensive side of things.
And you get to see how they capitalize on a good situation, and that's what they did against the Giants.
Yeah, so it's just got to be an interesting decisions that are coming up here. With this team here, I believe it's August 27th. They have to get down to 53, so got a little bit of time. I think they trim some down next week. But getting down to, because they start with like 90 something, so you got to get all the way down to 53. It may not be that difficult, but man, I just think they're probably going to be left. I have no doubt that the 53 final players are going to all would have earned those positions, especially your first and second is locked in, but those other complementary players, including your practice team.
Absolutely. And running back's definitely a position I would watch with that, because you have Derek Goombawale, Damian Pierce, and Cam Akers all fighting for that next up role behind Joe Mixon right now.
We want a
running back.
Goombawale to kick field goals.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I hope a Goombawale stays around literally just because he saved
knows
us the field
he knows
goals.
he's got a job. Don't he?
He's a special. He can kick.
Yeah.
He's an
Yeah.
alternate kicker if need be. So
That was crazy.
That was nuts, wasn't it? Like we had Justin Reed doing it for us back, before Justin Reed left, and now we have a Goombawale doing it. It's nice to have that player that can do more than one thing, right?
Quite interesting. Hey, so if you like what you saw yesterday from your Houston Texans, give us a call. 713-780-3776. We'll take your call and talk Texans throughout the show. Now in the second hour, we're going to be getting into something that I think it's probably been done on radio. It's definitely been done on the Mean Gene show and our Sports King sister show. and that's our live NFL draft while we are on the air. Now, things are going to get really crazy in that second hour. So, because one of us might get caught not paying attention because no one wants, look here, everyone's after Jacob here because he wins the league. And AJ, you might have to, talk to you might have to take over on the mic, man, because when it comes time for me to pick, I got to get this right. I finished in 10th place the first year.
10th?
Last year, it was
Terrible.
8th place. I mean, so I'm taking a chance coming on air making picks because, hell, I might be out of the league before we leave the show today.
Just needs a little bit of help. Just a little bit of help leg up
I need
on us.
well, I got a nugget. I do have a nugget. I got an edge. And I know that our Sports Kings Fantasy Football League guys are watching, and they're probably already talking trash, some of the things that they say. Unfortunately, we cannot repeat on the air because it's a very vulgar league,
Man.
but it's competitive. And, we got to pay our dues, too. So you didn't even, we live here in the same city. You didn't even take me out to lunch. What you do with your winnings?
It was a lot of money, but it wasn't that much money. I had to cycle it all back into this year's because I had to double up so that I could win it back to back. I just had to see all through to the end 2 years straight.
There's not going to be a back to back.
We'll see.
There's not going to be a back to back. We cannot let that happen. As we stated, the Broncos and the Packers set to kick off in the preseason, so we'll kind of give you some updates on that. As a matter of fact, also second half of the show, we will get into the AFC West and the AFC East.
Talk about what they've got going on. The AFC
is
East,
that-
AFC West,
okay.
yes, sir.
So, and then of course we're going to get into the other division there. We're going to get into the AFC. We're going to get into we're going to talk about the Broncos.
We're going to talk about the Broncos. It's
Yeah.
AFC West, but we're gonna dabble on a couple other things, right?
Yeah, because look here, everyone knows Aaron Rodgers is one of the guys I like to pick on. So I might actually give him a little praise later on in the show because I just looking at that division, the AFC East, and how it changes.
Yeah.
And it will change if you got a healthy Aaron Rodgers this year.
And it's totally up for grabs. So
And I was really shocked that we didn't see Josh Allen. I thought he was going to play. I think everyone else expected him to play. So,
Yeah.
but he's Josh Allen, so we don't really have to worry about that. So I tell you what, we're going to wrap this first segment up. When we come back, we're going to get more into some of the week 2 preseason action that took place this weekend. You're listening to the Mean Gene Show right here on ESPN 97.5.
You're listening to The Mean Gene Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
for the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Mean Gene.
All right, we are back, folks. Once again, Mean Gene Show on a Sunday evening. Get used to it every Sunday evening throughout the NFL season, 7 p.m. Now, there might be a couple of days that we are not going to be here due to our obligations to the Dallas Cowboys Sunday night games, but that's fine. That's okay. I'll find something else to do with my time. I'll probably walk a dog or go to the mall or something. Anything except watch the. No, I'm not. Okay, AJ, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do that. I guess I got to be nice. I'm here with Jacob Meadows, and Jacob. Get used to seeing Jacob because Jacob is gonna be here. He already said that you gonna make it home here. You like you. You feeling? You feeling? You. I don't know how you look on YouTube, but I'm sure somebody will let us know. Like, hey, get that guy off the set. No, they'll let us know. We got some people that will let us know for sure. So, all right. Speaking of those Dallas Cowboys, okay, let's get into some of the action that took place yesterday. Because look, I get excited about the preseason for a lot of reasons because we're seeing live football action for the first time in months. But then again, as you get closer into the preseason, there's no more are there 4 games anymore. There's usually just 3 now. And, of course, now they're trying to even get rid of that if you let the commissioner go to an 18-game season there. But it's just a lot of things you want to look at. You want to look at depth charts. You want to look at, who's ready. They can only practice against each other so much.
Yeah.
You got to have some real contact.
That's why you see the joint practices and whatever, but even those seem to be fewer and farther in between than what they used to be. So the preseason really is your first look at team on team anything for the league now.
You said joint practices. I call them joint fights because usually that's what they turn out to be. Yeah, we saw some ugly ones there with the Giants early on in the year. But last night, the Dallas Cowboys and the Raiders played. No Dak Prescott, really not much of the starters there. But the Cowboys get the win 27-12. And the interesting thing there was, and AJ, I want to get your thoughts on what you saw. What did you like anything that you saw with that action last night?
For sure the defense. I mean, I think one of the more sure things. I mean, even though Dan Quinn left, is going to be the defense because Mike Zimmer. I mean, he's been a head coach in Minnesota,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
he knows what to do. And then obviously the Cowboys have some people that were injured last year is going to return. Demarion Overshown. That's a key name to watch because he's going to be really good. And then they added some people. I mean, everybody talks about how inept they were during the offseason, which they were. Trust me, I definitely think that. But I mean, they had some more linebacker versatility, so they had a problem stopping the run the past few years. Honestly, how they were currently constructed. So I mean, I like just some of the pieces they've added defensively. Offensively, I think that's the biggest question mark because you still need to sign CD, which I think will end up happening. But Jerry, he's just so unconventional. Always wants the headlines and things of that nature. But he'll get signed eventually. We don't know when that will be because I mean, it could be like right before week 1, but we don't want that because I mean that might risk a soft tissue
Well,
injury.
what the
So
hell
that
are
would
the
suck.
fantasy football owners
That's what
supposed
I'm
to
saying.
do?
That's what I'm saying.
You know
know?
we got a draft
That's
coming up
frustrating.
here,
That's frustrating.
and somebody's going to draft CeeDee
Yeah.
Lamb, but it won't be Mean Gene.
Yeah.
Probably won't be me.
Well, it's just risky right now.
Yeah, it is.
But I'm going to say this, and tell me if you guys agree here. Losing Dan Quinn to the Washington team, kind of scary. You don't like to see that kind of talent go to your division. But Zimmer is a guy that's familiar with the Cowboys because he was with the Cowboys once before, and I think that's a good replacement. And I think that was a pretty good hire by the Cowboys.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was one of their best moves that they've made recently.
Mm-hmm.
He's a fantastic NFL coach.
Yeah.
It feels like the Cowboys filled a need that was created, more or less by their own organization. But
So you got 2 head coaches there with him and McCarthy, so you got some great minds there.
It's almost like having a backup head coach. If McCarthy needs anything, he could bang it off of Zimmer, and then
Mhm.
you have that groupthink mentality where you're able to kind of tackle obstacles that maybe McCarthy would have fumbled on previously. So it looks like it's going to be a good setup for Dallas.
Yeah, I agree. Now, look, I just want to skip to Brandon Aubrey and the 66-yard field goal that if it was the regular season, it would have tied
Justin Tucker's
Justin
record.
Tucker's NFL record now. Say what you want about preseason. That was a 66-yard field goal.
This kid is phenomenal. He's one of the best players that Dallas has brought in years. I mean, he broke records last year as a rookie. He was a rookie last year, banging through 50-plus yard field goals like it was a cakewalk. Made the rest of the league almost look bad. He was better than 31 other kickers, starting kickers last season, Justin Tucker included. So how about Brandon Aubrey? That's the best thing that Dallas has going on, and it's not an insult.
I mean because that kicking game for a while there, AJ, it was kind of shaky there. I think they fired a kicker in the middle of the damn game one time.
You remember the Tampa Bay game a couple years ago? Brett Maher, he
Yeah,
was missing all those extra points.
yeah.
That was
So
concerning.
I think that this guy's definitely going to make the team. No,
No doubt.
No
right?
question.
So let's look at this other situation, because I know Cowboy fans want to, the Dak Prescott situation is going to get done. I think everyone knows that. I think the CeeDee Lamb thing, we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But when you have a number 3 overall draft pick on your team as your number 3 quarterback, and I'm talking about Trey Lance, this guy, not bad, 15 to 23 passes for 151 yards, played the last 3 quarters basically, I think, right? And I mean, I think we're starting to see, I think he's getting comfortable. And the one thing that Mike McCarthy said is that we got to have him on the field.
Yeah,
Got to have him on the field.
He needs the game experience.
Yeah.
He didn't get that in San Francisco. He
Yeah.
had all the injuries and whatnot, and now he's actually getting a chance to play on the field, get real reps, not against his own defense. And it does seem like he's blossoming into his own. And we might get to see the Trey Lance that Kyle Shanahan drafted, right? Like, we'll see the guy with the running prowess and the deep arm and the ability to create plays. We might actually get to see that out of Trey Lance now that Dallas is really giving him a shot. It's been interesting.
So, and contracts seems to be the big, talking point there in the Dallas area. And according to an article that was written by my great friend Calvin Watkins up there at the Dallas Morning News, so the Cowboys are offering star wide receiver CeeDee Lamb a contract worth slightly under $33 million. I believe Justin Jefferson is making about 35, but I think even at $33 million, this would make CeeDee Lamb the second highest paid receiver in the league. So has he accepted it?
No, he hasn't accepted it. It does seem like contract talks are getting better. It's not a hostile environment anymore. And, after the Amari Cooper situation years ago, Dallas should be invigorated to get this deal done. But it looks like CeeDee's going to end up signing. I do think he ends up in Dallas, whether it's a tag and trade, right? Whether they bring him back just to flip him elsewhere, or if they actually bring him on long term like they should. It seems that this might be coming to a close here more quickly than not. But he has not agreed to the lick under $33 million. I think he wants to be the highest paid receiver in the league, and I don't know what Dallas is going to do.
So
with
this $33 million would put him just a little bit above what AJ Brown got.
AJ Brown with the Philadelphia Eagles,
which is, and we talked about this on the way riding over here, is that I think he's better than AJ Brown.
Agreed. Yeah. It not leaps and bounds in a bad way, but leaps and bounds. I mean, CeeDee's the complete package. He's a terrific route runner. He's got great hands. He can high point the ball. He's fast as lightning. Like, he's a terrific receiver. He's an amazing athlete. So, I mean, he deserves to get his bag. It's just Dallas is strapped with cash to a point, especially with the Dak contract looming, especially with the Micah Parsons contract looming. So it creates an interesting issue similar to the Amari Cooper one years ago, where it's how do you pay him what he wants while also filling the other cups available that need to be filled.
And that's the problem that the Cowboys should have
Handled
they should have saw that
previously.
coming,
Yeah.
right? AJ, I mean, look here. He's going to get his money, but you also got to pay you got to pay Dak. And quarterbacks are going for in the 50, 55-ish, 60 million range
So
now.
much money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they let a lot of things linger. I mean, even when that got signed in 2021, we saw that, that contract extension, some of the controversy behind that. I mean, he ended up getting signed in March. That was way earlier, but there's still talk then. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just so unconventional. I think Micah, he'll get signed more quicker next year, though, because, I mean, people regard him as the best player
You
on
got
the
to take
team.
care of your defense. So, it's just kind of tough. I don't know. I mean, these decisions can cost you your division or games, for the most
Season.
part. So season, right? So, all right, Stephon Gilmore, Used to play with the Cowboys, free agent, finally got picked up by the Minnesota Vikings, $10 million 1 year deal, which he goes to a team that's probably not going anywhere. So this is all about him, I suppose.
I would have to hope that it's about the money because he signed after JJ McCarthy's out for the season. You don't know who's throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson.
Right.
So it looks like this might be Stefan's final resting place in the NFL. Maybe we see him turn it up or turn it in. Maybe we see him retire after this season.
I mean, it's just keep getting those game checks. They get paid every Tuesday, I think, something like that. So you can do the math. $10 million over 1 year. That's
a pretty good payday.
Those are some nice paydays.
Good year, even after taxes.
Even if it's just 1 year. So that was some of the breaking news. And also, look here, I tell you what, and we're going to talk about the AFC West here a little bit later in the show, but Patrick Mahomes does it again. When you're out there doing behind the back passes on the football field and just totally disrespecting the Detroit Lions and whatever, you can't believe what Kelsey says, you can't believe what Mahomes says, but that was pretty incredible.
It was dope. I love to see it. I'm so tired of the Chiefs finding new ways to be better than everybody else, right? So it's like the Tom Brady Patriots. Like I'm so tired of it. But gosh, everything they do, that behind the pack pass to Travis Kelsey, Travis didn't even run the correct route on the play.
It just looked like some playground.
Yeah, he improvised,
stuff. Yeah.
and Pat just behind the backs it to him like it's no big deal. Nobody else can do that.
No.
It's ridiculous.
But now try that mess in the regular season. I don't know.
If anybody could do it, it would be Patrick Mahomes in the regular season, though.
It was basketball-ish, like.
Yeah, it's backyard football.
It's
not real. Like, it's crazy what he can do with the ball in his hands.
Chiefs lose the game by 1 point, 24-23. Not that it really matters. I think the big story out of that is the behind-the-back pass there. So let's talk about my Steelers here because for some reason the Pittsburgh Steelers offense seems to be sputtering a little bit in 2 weeks of games there. Nothing exciting. The Texans were able to handle them regardless of who the Texans had on the field. Although Russell Wilson came out yesterday and looked like Russell Wilson should probably
retire,
something like that. And, and then you get Justin Fields. I think, I have said all along, and I'm going to continue to say it, I think Justin Fields is going to ultimately end up being the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Might be sooner than later.
Originally I thought we were going to have to wait a while, but Justin Fields looks crisp in the preseason, man. And this is not the Russell Wilson that we have grown up seeing since he made the league, right? Like he looks like he might have lost that burning passion for football.
I think so. And you know what? We're going to follow up on that coming here at the bottom of the hour. So folks, hey, look here, stick with us because we're going to get into our AFC East and West predictions here. You're listening to The Mean Gene Show right here on 97.5 ESPN Houston.
This is the Mean Gene Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Mean Gene.
All right, we are back here, bottom of the first hour here. Mean Gene and Jacob Meadows here on the Mean Gene Show, talking AFC East. But before we get into the Dolphins, the Patriots, the Bills, and the Jets, I talked about Caleb Williams last week a little bit because I have a lot of family in Chicago.
Sure.
And they call me up. I got some nephews that live there, and they like, what do you think about Caleb Williams?
Okay.
And, I gave my thoughts on him, especially being a USC quarterback. And I'm a USC guy. But I have to give him his props, man. He looked good in the first preseason game. He didn't play in the Hall of Fame game. But the official week 1 preseason, he looked good, and he looked even better yesterday.
He looks so the biggest takeaway, right, because it's preseason, is he doesn't look scared. That was my big worry for him, because there were some big games at USC that he kind of looked like he mentally fell apart a little bit, but he seems to be handling the speed of the NFL very well. It looks good for him so far, so he deserves all of his roses early on. He looks like he's going to be as advertised for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, and not like I said, not that the preseason really matters, but the Bears are putting up some pretty good points.
Yeah, they're scoring by
They're
something that they
scoring.
couldn't do the last couple of years
Right.
at all. They're doing
regardless
well right
of
now.
who the quarterback
Yeah.
is out there, because the Badgett actually played last year in relief on the field. So I think hey, look, if Hard Knocks is fun, I'm enjoying Hard Knocks because look, it gives you a little bit of insight on what goes on, and where it really gets interesting, Jacob, is when they make those cuts. Now, I've
Yeah.
actually had the pleasure of attending a Bears training camp in Bourbonnais.
Really?
Illinois.
Okay.
So I went. This is when Peanut Tillman was still on that team. That's when they had a really
Sick.
solid
Yeah.
team. But no, the training camp is fun. So what I'm seeing that's taking place on Hard Knocks, I've actually seen in person with that Bears team. So this is good because Caleb Williams seems to be, a lot of people. The expectations are for him to duplicate what C.J. Stroud did, and that's just not easy to do.
It's not easy, but nobody's given their quarterback a better opportunity to do that than the Chicago Bears have with Caleb Williams. I mean, that offense is absolutely stacked. Their defense was surprisingly good in games last year. I mean, they have a lot of talent. So it is Caleb Williams' team to lose with, because he has no excuse. I mean, outside of being a rookie, right? But you were prolific at UFC. You were one of the most touted quarterbacks coming into the draft in years and years and years. So moving into an offense with all of this firepower, it should be plug and play, more or less, if you think about it.
Okay. All right. You ready to talk some AFC East?
Let's talk some AFC East.
All right. So we got the Dolphins, Patriots, Jets, and Bills. You saw the Bills take on the Steelers, and, I want to start with the Bills because we didn't see Josh Allen last night, but I'm worried about the Bills offense in the sense that you let 2 of your starting wide receivers walk away.
Yep.
Stephon Diggs is down here with us in Houston, and Gabe Davis. I forgot where he went, but but those are 2 good wide receivers.
They were their 2 best wide receivers.
So-
Correct. I think there's cause for concern, but I tell you what, rookie Keon Coleman looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And then you have Khalil Shakur, who had all of those crazy catches at the end of last season for the Bills. He's coming in as wide receiver 2 right now. And honestly, they haven't looked terrible. It looks like they've been working out their run game early in the preseason, I guess trying to figure out who's going to do what for their run game. But, I think replacing Stephon Diggs, who was a prime target, Josh Allen had to feed him the ball, or there would be possibly issues within the organization. I think freeing them from the binds of that may make their offense better than what it was last season.
Well, here's what they're up against, okay? So they've won the division for the last 4 seasons, right, I think. Now, but they've lost 3 straight divisional playoff games, 2 to the Chiefs, okay, 1 to the Bengals. So you still got to work your way out of that AFC. And then they did make the AFC championship game in 2020, but who did they lose to? The Chiefs.
Yep.
So I don't know how it makes them better now losing. I understand the rookie's going to be okay, but he's still a rookie.
Yeah,
in
better
Coleman.
against their division, right? Like that might be all it is. Like they're gonna be better against normal opponents, not necessarily the
Because
upper echelon.
Mr. Rogers is back in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait and see how long Mr. Rogers hangs out in the
See-
neighborhood before I talk about that. Because
Well, I mean, but just when you think things are going to get easier or should be easier for the Bills, and I always talk about this, and me and Dustin Pfeiffer on the Sports King show, we talk about that window of opportunity. You get rid of 2 starters, that window's got to be closed. If Aaron Rodgers wasn't coming back, maybe, but you still got Tua who's out there who is looking to do something. You got Rodgers. And I mean, well, the Patriots,
They can beat the
Patriots are the
Patriots,
Patriots.
it's
Yeah, I
possible,
mean,
but-
they're going to be last place in that division, but it's going to be interesting. And when we look at the Jets here, Rodgers returns. The Jets haven't won that division since 2002,
been a
and believe it or not, they had a 9-7 record then.
it was a down year
Yeah,
for
it
the
was
division.
that
yeah.
whole division. Because that was before all of the craziness happened
Yeah.
when New England started to
Take
just
off.
run away with
Yeah.
things. I don't know. And then we look at the Dolphins here. They haven't won the division since 2008, but they've lost the last 2 wild card games, and those were to who?
The Bills.
Bills and Chiefs.
Yep.
So it just, if it ain't the Bills getting in the way, it's the Chiefs. And we ain't even talked about the Chiefs. We're gonna talk about them in the next hour. But, I don't know. Looking at this division, which I know we're gonna have to pretty soon kind of pick, who we think is gonna win this division. But let's just spend a little bit more time on the Jets here, because you get Aaron Rodgers. He's gonna be able to hook up with
Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson, which is, you got Brees Hall, who is probably going to be a top fantasy pick.
Dog. He's so
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
So, so you got some good combinations there. Now, I know the situation with, is it Hassan Reddick?
Hassan Reddick. Yeah.
Yeah, now that right there, and you can kind of see that Aaron Rodgers is not happy.
Yeah, he came to
Mm-hmm.
Joe Douglas and everybody's side. He called Hassan Reddick and tried to convince him to run it back with him.
Mhm.
How do you request a trade before you play a single snap for a team that traded for you?
Well, it's making the Jets look pretty bad.
It is. It looks.
I
like
wish they were on Hard Knocks again this year,
Hey,
so we could
that would
really
be an interesting thing to watch.
yeah, I wish they were, because I mean, you bring this guy in, but didn't the Jets have an obligation to kind of get? They knew he wanted.
They knew he wanted money. That was the whole reason he got
So-
traded out of Philadelphia.
So
what
why
are you doing?
Right,
Yeah, get on the
How
horn.
do you let it get to this point?
It never should have devolved into this point.
You
Call
have
the
the
young man.
opportunity to win this division. I'm serious.
This was the best year that they've had
Yeah.
since 2002. The best opportunity.
So I don't know. I mean, we're gonna keep our eye on the situation. Getting Rodgers back is first things first.
He's got to be healthy.
He's got to be healthy. You got the running back. You got his slew of receivers. But I'm looking forward to it. Despite the riff between him and Garrett Wilson in the training camp, those things are going to happen. I think Rodgers realized, okay, hey, these guys are young. This is
Yeah, I mean,
they
Rodgers.
come with a lot of attitude.
He started in the
Yeah.
league probably the year
Mhm.
Garrett Wilson was born.
Right,
So
right, right.
there's a generational gap there that has to be overcome.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see. But and look, if you're a Patriots fan, hey, you've had your heydays. Your days are over. You won 11 straight division titles. During the Belichick Brady era from 2009 to 2019. It's just over. Drake May, you could put Ellie Mae, you can put anybody back there.
Anybody you
It's
want.
not going to matter.
The rest of the league deserves some time away from the Patriots being so good that they run the gauntlet on whoever
I feel
they
bad
play.
for Mayo.
I do.
Even though he was the coach in waiting,
Yeah.
but this team is not going to be good at all.
I do like that, just as a side thing, Joe Milton's been beloved by the fans since the preseason started. Joe Milton's looked pretty good, albeit against backups. But the Patriots do have 2 really young quarterbacks on their roster that could potentially give a run for the money as a future starter for a significant period of time.
AJ, what are the chances of the Patriots winning this division?
What,
AFC
this year?
Yeah, that's a real question.
I'll put 1%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
1%.
1%.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's fair, but The Dolphins. Now that this team, like I said, they've lost the last 2 wild card games, so their window of opportunity, what gives them a chance, is Tyreek Hill.
Correct.
And Tua, we saw some great stuff yesterday. Man, he had a pass yesterday to, I can't remember the receiver's name. Looked like a back shoulder throw
That
into
was
the end zone.
River Craycraft.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
that was, oh man, that looked pretty damn good. So that team, and even last year in that wild card game, it was a winnable game.
It was a winnable game, but they had a collapse there at the end of the year because of
Major.
injuries. They had too many defensive
true.
injuries
And
that
it
they
caught
could
up
not
with them.
overcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Ever
it-
since they had came back from that overseas trip, just seemed like because they could have beat the Chiefs.
Yeah,
They should
correct.
have beat the Chiefs.
They got real close. It was a
Yeah.
good game.
Yeah.
But London screwed them up pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like they never were able to
They
get
didn't
that
recover.
balance back.
Injuries got them. So and in the next segment, we're gonna pick, my 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, where you leaning at with this division?
Shout out my roommate Joey McGinnis because I gotta go with the Dolphins. I like the
You
Dolphins
got
in this
the
division.
Dolphins. You think they could win the division?
I do think they can win the division. I think the offense is too talented. I think having Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert at running back, again, running it back, I think they were
Achane.
terrific. They're so good. I think having Jalen Waddle really blossoming the way that he did last year. Tyreek Hill missed a lot of he missed time last season.
Yeah, he
and
did.
The offense didn't sputter at all.
And
because-
even in that wild card game, he just wasn't.
Correct. And
I think
Jalen
he
Waddle
played
was
hurt.
a very easy 1-for-1 for him. So I like what the offense has done. I like what Mike McDaniels has done. They have the new defensive coordinator. It really looks like that defense might start to click. They have everybody coming back off of injury. I think Miami
Because
might
they
be the
wore
team to watch.
Mostert out, A-Chain, who just came out of nowhere, and Dustin Pfeiffer picked him up, and
I
that's when he
remember
was,
that.
That's when
Yeah.
he was running. I think A-Chain had 2 or 3 games where he was killing.
It was like 4 touchdowns
Yeah, he
and
was
200
just
yards
killing
every week.
He
Man.
was
Pretty
killing
sure
everybody.
one of my few losses came during that stretch to Dustin because of him.
But when A-Chain went down, so did Dustin.
Yeah,
Dustin went
that was
down.
the end of Dustin. It was a bittersweet moment for all
Hey,
parties
Dustin,
involved.
I'm sorry, man. I know we're killing you because in the next hour, baby, we're gonna get you again.
Oh, it's
I got
go time.
look. I got 2. Dennis Sharman. We got a couple of guys. I cannot wait. We are so excited about this draft. But look here, back to the Dolphins. I don't know. I'll tell you in the next segment where I'm going to put these guys. I think we all agree that the Patriots are going to finish last.
You got to slot them
There's
at
just
4.
no hope at all. How many games do they win?
4 to 6, and I'm going to be generous with that. It's 4 to. It's a learning year.
Hmm.
That's all they're gonna. I mean, they could do more. There could be some crazy person out there put a couple $100 on it to win.
4 and
They do.
13.
Yeah, give or take.
Is that AJ? You agree?
Yeah, like 4 or 5 or 6, something like that.
4,
I think
5, or
so, too.
6?
Yeah.
It's a safe number because you don't know what they're going to do. They have no offensive talent in the skill positions. They did bring back Ramondre Stevenson. He is a terrific running back.
Good running back. Yeah.
But I don't think it matters. Their
And I'm
offensive
glad
line
you
was
said that because you always pick the best player on the worst team in fantasy football.
That is very
We'll talk
correct.
about that. Hey, all right,
Garbage
folks.
time.
We are going to wrap this up. We come back. We got the last segment here in the first hour. You're listening to the Mean Gene Show with Jacob Meadows and Mean Gene right here on ESPN 97.5.
You're listening to The Mean Gene Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
for the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Mean Gene.
All right, we are back here, about to wrap the first hour up. You're listening to the Mean Gene Show, ESPN 97.5. Got my main man, Jacob Meadows here. Jacob is our 2023 Sports Kings Fantasy Football winner. Jacob is also the host of the sports podcast called Coach's Quarters. You can
Coach's Quarters.
where can they listen to you at?
You
man?
can find me
gearing up here.
on any platform that you can listen to podcasts on. I am on Spotify. I'm on YouTube. I am on Amazon Music, Apple Music, anywhere that you can find any sort of sports talk shows. You can find the Coach's Quarters.
I've been a guest on that show.
You sure have.
Had-
It was
had
one of
a-
my favorite shows.
Had a great time on there, and yeah, so check that out, folks. So, all right, we're talking AFC East. I think. Did you give your order?
So I didn't give my order. I just said that
give
I
your
was
order. We both agreed that the New
the
England
Patriots were going to
would
be on the bottom.
last place, and I think AJ, you both guys agreed 4, 5, 6
Yeah,
wins,
same,
maybe.
unequivocally, yeah.
Man, I have to agree with you guys. Good Lord, I hate to see them go 3-14, but God, that would be god awful for Jared Mayo for his first, coaching. Yeah, I want to give him at least 6.
That's gotta be what they know going into it, though. I mean, this is the first regime change that they've had almost since I was born. So it's one of, like, there's gonna be hiccups, right? You bring Gerard Mayo in.
No. Bob Kraft wants them to win this year because if they don't, he loses his privileges at that massage parlor down in Florida. They gotta win 6.
He's
at least,
gotta win
man.
6. Yeah,
6 give you that lifetime membership.
they're gonna be deflating footballs
Oh,
all year long,
man.
trying to eke that 7th win out, man.
Gotta get that. Okay, but no, I agree. So Jacob, go ahead and give me your order. 1, 2, 3. What you have in that the AFC East?
1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm gonna have to slot in the Dolphins. I like Miami at 1. I like Miami at 1 a lot. I think that they're gonna win the division. Right behind them, it's a toss-up. I like the Bills, but if Aaron Rodgers returns to Packers Aaron Rodgers form, I like the Jets at 2. It's just because he only played 4 plays last season, right? I have no idea what they're gonna do. But so I'm gonna have to give you Miami, and then Buffalo, and then the Jets, and then the Patriots to round out the.
So
cellar.
you got Miami first.
I do, yes.
You got the Dolphins first. You got Jets.
The
Bills.
Bills.
second.
I'm going to take the Bills because I don't
Okay.
know what Aaron
So
Rodgers is going to do.
So Miami, Bills, Jets, Patriots. Okay. Whoo. All right. Well, look, because I got the Bills first, and I'm shocked that I do because even though just, talking about that window of opportunity, knowing that they got rid of 2 starting wide receivers.
Good starting wide receivers.
And I know the rookie has a lot of expectations. I love watching him at Florida State. The guy was killing it down there, but it's still a rookie
You're a rookie in a man's league.
in the man's league. And Josh Allen is going to put that ball right between the numbers. So you better be ready to step up. And it's some big shoes to fill with Diggs and Davis, but they still got Shakur.
They have Khalil Shakur.
who was really good, man.
He
He's
turned it
playing
up
the
at the end
slot,
of last
right?
season. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah, he really did. So I mean, I'm okay, but it's just that they are probably the most experienced, having won that division for the last 4 times, even though they can't get past the division
Chiefs
playoffs.
and Bengals in the playoffs.
So I don't know that. We won't talk about that part, but I do have them going for their 5th, straight division.
And just to bang off of that, they've handled more adversity than most teams in the 32-team league, right? Here the last couple of years, all the injuries, all the ups and downs, Brian Daboll leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So they've handled adversity. So if anybody could overcome the deficits that they have, it's going to be the
And
Bills.
it's a
in the
critical
East.
year for Sean McDermott because
Mhm.
this is the year. Look what I just gave you the resume. They won the division the last 4 years,
Yep.
but they've been kicked out of the playoffs for the divisional playoffs. 2 by the Chiefs, 1 by the Bengals. Sean McDermott's last year. They don't get it done.
You could see that hot
Josh,
seat get real hot.
You see it coming. Josh Allen will be playing for another coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, that's just the way it works.
Hopefully that we don't see a total collapse of them. Probably they could try to market Josh Allen should they make a full-on regime change. Do I think it happens? No, but the possibility's always there.
So I'm going to go with the Bills as my number one team to win that division. The Jets.
Woo!
I have
risky.
the Jets.
No kidding.
Jets. I have the Jets finishing second place in that division, and I have to say that is due to that defense that they have. Understanding the Hassan Reddick situation, but still, they still got great
Still
players.
got a good defense. Yeah.
Yeah, I met Sauce Gardner when he got drafted in Vegas. I was there for his press conference. So that defense was good last year, even though the offense stunk it up. But Aaron Rodgers coming back on the field makes a difference. Breece Hall at running back makes a difference. So they know last year was a missed opportunity. I think they get it. I think they finish second, which hopefully is good enough for a wild
playoff
card.
spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My third team, and I struggled too because I almost put the Dolphins in second, but I got the Dolphins there. I don't know. I mean I just think that I'm looking at the most experienced quarterback in that division, which is Aaron Rodgers, and you still and Josh Allen. So Tua is not there yet.
No, he's
for
not.
me to give him. So that's why I got the Dolphins third, and of course I got the Patriots in fourth place. But I think that's how it's going to be.
That makes sense. I mean, I just think that Tua's got more. He's got the best weapons, easily, far and away in the East. He has the best offensive weapons. So if they can put together,
Text me, they probably disagree with me. I don't care. All right, I'm trying to do a damn show. All right, somebody disagrees with me, I'm sure.
Sure,
probably somebody in our fantasy league.
I could only assume multiple people in our
But
fantasy league.
When are you guys going to stop talking that crap and get to the fantasy football? Next hour, okay. Games being played tonight. We got some updates here. I think the Green Bay Packers and the Denver Broncos.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about the Broncos a little bit later, but that score 10-0.
10-0. Yes,
Bo
sir.
Nix.
Bo Nix out
Touchdown
of Oregon,
pass.
man. Went to college for 30
Whoa.
years. He was at Auburn with Cam
You
Newton.
said
If you
30
ask
years?
the people, man. But Bo Nix looks pretty good, man.
30 years. Oh my!
If you
goodness.
round, yeah. You
Well,
got,
yeah. Look here, 8 of 9, 80 yards, touchdown pass to Tim
Tim
Patrick.
Patrick, somebody coming
Wow.
last year, little
How about that?
experience. Yeah.
Cortland Sutton has one reception for 28 yards, so he's like
He's
your
in the game. Yeah, Cortland
He's-
Sutton, he's going to get targeted less in the preseason anyway, so it's good to see Tim
Yeah,
Patrick catching
yeah.
balls.
Yeah, so interesting. But Bo Nix looked like he's probably going to end up getting. He's going to be the starter.
He might get that starting nod. Yeah, that'll be really cool too. Going from Oregon,
And we have another game also, and that game is the Saints and the 49ers. Saints winning that game 7-0, and I haven't really followed the Saints a lot this year to kind of know what the expectations are. You got
It's always to win, right?
Kamara, who's been there, it seemed like for 20 years. I don't know. Carr's playing.
That's going to be an enigma team, is just because you don't know their cap space is pretty up and down, right? They don't have any money, so they couldn't really go in on.
I give you a guess. It's 7-0, right?
Mm.
So you got Carr's playing. Who you think got the touchdown in that game?
Oh man, I have no idea. I don't.
Taysom Hill.
Of course, right?
Who else?
The Switchblade.
Yeah.
He's one of the most fun
So,
players that's played the league.
That
in a
never
while.
gets drafted in fantasy football. Never.
They had that one year where they screwed it up and they had him getting quarterback points as a tight end. You could slot him as a tight end. He was putting up
But it's-
30
it's-
yards
it's
or 30
risky.
points a week. Yeah.
It's risky.
You never know.
You add him as you need him.
Yeah. He's
You
a waiver wire
You think
pickup.
somebody in the next hour going to draft Taysom
No
Hill?
shot. You
Yeah.
know what? They might. In our league,
I
they
think
might.
Danny Sharma might.
You know what? If I had to choose one out of a bag, I think Danny
think
Sharma
Danny-
might.
All right, so those are the games that are currently going on right now, and we're sitting here watching the Packers and the Broncos here. So it's going to be interesting for the Packers coming up this year, knowing what they did last year. Man, I tell you, the league. This is why they call it the NFL. Not for long. To try to come back and reduplicate what you did the previous year. I cannot wait to see what teams go from first to worst and all
Worst
that
to
stuff.
first.
But Worst to first and the first to worst. So anyway, all right, we're gonna wrap up this hour here, folks. We're coming back for hour number 2. You listen to the Mean Gene Show with Mean Gene and Jacob Meadow right here on ESPN 97.5. All right, welcome to the Mean Gene Show, second hour. I am here with my co-host for the day, and that is Jacob Meadows.
What's
And
up?
we are the countdown. We only had a couple of minutes from that last hour to get logged into our draft, baby. The computer is all lit up, and we are 15 minutes away from the start of the 2024 Sports Kings NFL Draft. I am picking fourth. Cruz is picking first.
I am
You
picking
picking
second,
number
baby.
2. Get out of
Hey,
here.
Won the league, and I'm coming back.
Sharma
with a good day.
Living is picking number 3. How the hell? Who did this? Who's the commissioner of this draft? Oh, it's me. Okay. Yes. There we go. Oh, man, we are almost there. AJ, this is going to be fun because this is where inexperienced fantasy football players draft a kicker in the first round. It happens.
It sure it does.
It has happened. And you want to know who that inexperienced player was some 10 years ago
No
that
way it
picked
was
the
you.
kicker? It was me. I'm not ashamed to say it. It's okay. But since then, since I have been playing, look, I'm 60 years old, man. I like getting in here whipping these young boys' asses. Because, first of all, this is just fun. I have won 6 fantasy football championships since picking that kicker in the first damn round.
You
So I
learn
didn't
from your
really-
mistakes.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Now, the next year, I picked the defense in the first round. So I got better. I worked my way all the way up to a wide receiver, okay?
It's a learning process. Right?
It
You
is
got
a
to trust the
learn-
process.
It took me about 6 years, so it's been about, 16 years playing fantasy football. So I'm getting it right.
You're getting there.
I'm getting there.
There's a learning curve.
Okay, so Okay, so Cruz is drafting first, and these guys are all in the chat room. Jacob's here. Denny's got the third pick. I got the fourth. Big game. Vikings house number 6. Too legit to quit. You should just quit now. You're picking number 7. Don Knotts is picking number 8. And we got Dirty Dangle. Someone changed their name.
Was that Melons?
No. Melons is 10. Melons is picking 10 there. So, wow, this is going to be great here. And look, I tell you what, folks, fantasy football drafts are happening all over the nation. This is usually about the time it takes place because this is where, maybe not the preseason, but you also got interesting things like the CD Lamb.
Correct.
You got Nick Chubb that's probably not coming around
weeks,
for
yeah.
about 7 to 8 weeks. So some players, you look at the Minnesota Vikings situation, the quarterback situation, who's going to get the ball to Justin Jefferson?
Yeah, who's is it going to be Sam Darnold? Is it going to be Nate Mullins? Nick Mullins looked pretty
So
good.
you really Mullins did look pretty good. So you really got to strategize here. And some folks like to go heavy wide receivers. Some folks like to go running backs. As we all know, this is a passing league.
There's a winning recipe, baby.
So, but this is pretty interesting here. And do you take a chance on CeeDee Lamb? You got Jamar Chase. Well, guess who's coming back to throw the ball to Jamar Chase? You got his
don't
quarterback, Joe Burrows.
Yeah.
You got
Jamar Chase. Yeah.
you got
Joe Burrow's going to be back.
So yeah, all these things matter. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, his quarterback is going to be throwing the ball to him. AJ Brown,
Same thing. Jalen Hurts throwing the ball to him.
And Garrett Wilson. Aaron Rodgers gets the maybe there's a connection there.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So you got a lot of, and look, this phone, man. See what it says right there? We are on it. The Sports Kings draft started right on time here. This is good. Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, rookie players, I draft one every year.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm drafting Marvin Harrison.
But
Jr.
it's a possibility should he fall into the right round.
Possibility, but I remember drafting Ezekiel Elliott in the first round as a rookie.
It's a good
Well,
pick.
it was the first round. It could have been the second round, but I did draft, and I also drafted Saquon Barkley.
Also
as rookie,
tremendous
as a rookie.
pick. Yeah.
So who are you looking at? I mean, you don't have to tell me,
Yeah.
but give me some talking points here. What do you like on the board for the draft?
I'm looking for somebody that's going to be multi-purpose, right? I want somebody that's going to run the ball and catch the ball. So you look at players like you have the Deebo Samuels of San Francisco that are switchability players. They'll get some carries throughout the season. They also catch a primary portion of the balls. So it's looking like somebody that can do both, right? So you're looking like a Deebo Samuel, a Christian McCaffrey, a Joe Mixon, somebody that's capable of doing both. Probably a running back. I prefer to take running backs in the first round because of that dual purpose without having to worry about equaling into having too many 49ers players on my team or anything like that. But I like a running back in the first round. I think it's a safe pick. I think it gives you somebody that can produce more than other people because of the multifaceted ability to get the ball. So I'm liking a running back.
AJ, have you made your picks in any of your drafts?
Not yet. I think we're having our drafts next week and week after, something like that.
So
But
you probably don't want to give anything away. Huh? You got any advice for me and Jacob? Look here, this is critical time here, man.
I think
No, Jacob. As a matter of fact, just go ahead and mute his mic for the rest of the show, and disconnect his Wi-Fi also, so he can get jammed there at that second pick, and then he can move on. Then I can move on.
Gene needs that help. He needs that help a
I
lot.
need any
He
advantage I
definitely
can get right about now because this is critical stuff here. But no, we're 7 minutes and 41 seconds away.
Ready.
Also, looks like we still have some action going on there, and between the Packers and the Broncos, score still 10-0, and we'll be talking about the AFC West immediately after this draft here on the Mean Gene Show right here. And I tell you what, Jamar Gibbs worries me a little bit because we talked about this. Me and you both agree that this injury might be being downplayed, and it could be worse than what it is.
Yeah. Plus, if you're the Lions, you reach out, you get David Montgomery last year, right? David Montgomery's terrific. He was an amazing back for Chicago. He led the Lions real well last year. So when you have Monty there on the roster still, you don't have to rush Gibbs back. There's no rush to bring him back from injury. So I'm scared of Jameer Gibbs because you really don't. You have no idea when he's actually going to get significant playtime because if this injury is being downplayed, David Montgomery could end up being that bell cow till week 10. Who knows?
Yeah, and then don't forget, you got a couple of running backs that have changed zip codes or addresses, so to speak. You got Derrick Henry now running the ball for Baltimore. That needs to be taken into consideration, knowing that Lamar Jackson will not have to carry as much, or would not have to run as much as he has. And then you also have Saquon Barkley now running the ball in Philly. But here's one running back that's getting a lot of attention, and that is Kyren Williams for the Rams. And we saw some flashes of brilliancy last year.
Yeah.
But he is scheduled to go high. And,
really?
I think he's ranking, 17 right now, I believe. And so I don't know. I'm not really. I don't know what to think of the Rams right now because they pass so much.
They do, and they're the players on their roster, they deal with so many injuries. The hierarchy for their team is hard to peg. So that's an interest. Having Kyren Williams flying off early.
You got Nakua and Cooper Kupp. So it just kind of, I haven't seen where the running back on that team has been like a major
Cam
factor.
Akers is gone. So is there even anybody to compete with him in the backfield? It might just be the Kyren Williams show, which is why he's going high because
they drafted Blake Corum too.
That's right. They do have Blake Corum.
And I do believe I had Blake Corum under my radar there. So, but there's so many running backs. I think you got Jonathan Taylor, who is no contract dispute, no problems, should be
free
running
and clear
full year, and I think that's going to complement. Josh Jacobs said with the Packers.
The Packers.
Yeah,
I like Josh Jacobs.
So, in Packers running backs historically have been really good. So it's going to be interesting, man. Isaiah Pacheco with the Chiefs, who finished strong last year.
He's such a good runner. He runs so hard. Every play, nobody runs as hard as Isaiah Pacheco does every given play.
And then you also have, of course, Travis Etienne for the Jaguars, who had a stellar year last year. With,
he did. The team
over
collapsed.
1,000 yards.
He looks good. Etienne's going to be real good. I'm hoping he has a bounce back year. He deserves it, despite Jacksonville maybe letting him down last year. Etienne's he's a terrific running back.
Devon Achane.
Hey,
930 yards, 7 touchdowns.
You just have to worry about him being slotted behind Mostert on the depth chart. It's going to be impossible to recreate all the touchdowns and yards that Mostert had, sure. But same thing with Devon Achane. You got to be careful with both of them because they had a historic year for running backs last year as a tandem, and it's going to be incredibly difficult to run that back.
And we failed to mention Christian McCaffrey, who I believe in every fantasy league is number one.
Yep, got to be. Even though he's hurt now.
That's not saying you draft him number one, but I tend to think that he's questionable already.
He's that offense, and he's been healthy since he got to San Francisco.
Sometimes he's questionable in a game, and he goes off for.
He'll have 130 yards and 3 touchdowns.
His fantasy points are ridiculous.
Just ridiculous.
They are. So last year, 1,229 yards, 11 touchdowns, and he played in 15 games.
It's a machine.
So it's it's just so much here. So. But CeeDee Lamb is probably the big question of the day. And, of course, Tyreek Hill is also one of those guys that you have to be prepared. I thought I had him last year. I just didn't have enough complimentary players.
To help. Yeah, he put up plenty of points.
He single-handedly, won one game for me.
I tell you what.
Year, but not enough. I couldn't combine enough wins to get out of the cellar
together. I hope Cruz takes CeeDee Lamb first overall. All that talent
Cruz,
they have in Dallas.
Cruz, if you're listening to the show,
take CeeDee, baby.
Take CeeDee. As a matter of fact, take Nick Chubb. Get Chubb first.
Take Nick Chubb first overall. That works out. Appreciate you, Mr. Cruz.
2 minutes, 13 seconds. And this is cool because we go to a break. When we come back, the draft is going to start during the break. So AJ's got to remind us that we're actually on the air. This is really going to be fun. No, we got to pay attention. I'm just messing with you. AJ, like, don't do that to me now, okay? So anyway, all right, fantasy football draft for the Sports Kings coming up in the next segment here. But look here, we're on a Yahoo fantasy football draft. There are ESPN drafts. There are NFL Network drafts. So you can, wherever you feel comfortable getting into a draft. I've heard a lot of people are going to play for the first time. So anyway, when we come back, folks, it's the Sports Kings 2024 NFL Draft right here on the Mean Gene Show with Mean Gene and Jacob on ESPN 97.5.
You're listening to the Mean Gene Show
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
for the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Mean Gene.
All right, we are back here in our studios here, ESPN 97.5, Mean Gene, Jacob Meadows. You are getting ready to witness the Sports Kings 2024 fantasy football draft, which is like taking place like crazy right now. And so we're going to be all over the place here. And I see we got a couple of guys do you auto pick? It's more fun to just do this this way.
Do it live.
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, I think I think it's more fun to do it this way because we did this in Las Vegas when we had our residency at Virgin Hotels Las Vegas, or with these same group of guys. So it went over pretty well.
Yeah, I would say so.
Except for how I finished in the league, which I sucked there. So
It's not about the destination; it's about the journey.
yeah, and it was a long journey for me. But you can say that when you won the league, of course. Yeah. So hey, if you folks out there listening, if you need some tips, I don't know if they're going to want any tips from me, Jacob. They probably want to talk to you since I finished last place. 713-780-3776. If you are doing your fantasy football draft this week, maybe we can help you.
Call in and ask for some advice.
Or maybe we can, really screw you on this. I don't know. However, but nevertheless, it's fantasy football time, and it's time to just kind of get this in your blood. So, man,
Hardy, a bunch of picks off the board.
a lot of picks off the board. So I like my first pick. I have to say, I thought this look. I think this is a pretty good pick.
Who did you take?
I took Jamar Chase with the first pick.
Not too bad. Not as good as the CMC that fell to me. But
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, look, I just said that his quarterback is back this year.
he's going to
Joe
have
Burrow
a good
is going to. Jamar Chase should have a good year. Do you agree, AJ?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as long as he's healthy, that they should be a contender in the AFC. I think so, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I had to do that. So I think I need to.
No Joe Mixon to cut into his targets. T. Higgins might get
Yeah,
traded. It
yeah.
could be the Jamar Chase show moving forward in Cincinnati. So not bad.
Yeah, not bad. So yeah. So I mean, so far we looking pretty good. I have. When is your next pick? I got 8 more.
10.
More picks. So I know you. This is like me and you playing poker right now,
This
right?
is what it is.
Because
Yeah.
we just really can't. I noticed you turned your computer a little bit more towards you, so I can't look over.
I don't need you cheating off me, Mean Gene.
You
This
won
is-
the league last year,
I gotta
right?
run it back. It's 2 in a row, man.
So all right. So I really don't have time to see what the other guys are doing right now because we're so focused on just trying to get it done here. But anyway, what I do like about fantasy football, because we do it for money. Some folks do it for fun, bragging rights.
Yeah.
So women don't always understand the fantasy football thing. Well, what do you win? What are you doing? Why are you playing it?
Yeah, I found though, if you let them into the league once, no matter what, they will learn more than a guy that has never played fantasy football ever
I
will in
got
one
whipped
season.
by Wanda 3 years ago in the NFL.com draft. Now I don't know if I was really playing Wanda.
Sure.
I think it might have been Wanda's husband, but it didn't. It was a picture of Wanda.
All right.
And Wanda whipped my, and I
Wanda
was,
gave
I
it
took
to you.
Oh, I took it personally. Because I lost like 155 to like 60. It was a
Oh
bad whipping.
man, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't let any more women in that league. No, I'm just kidding.
Gotta pick your battles.
No, I wouldn't do that. Women are more than welcome to join the leagues, and they are joining leagues all over the place. I see some of the guys in my queue are getting picked here, and I'm not really liking that. I just saw a lot of guys in my queue that so this is having me to regroup here, if you will. But that's okay. I still got enough.
I'm in agreement with you. I've seen a couple people fly off of
You
my
see,
wish list
yeah,
too. Yeah.
I'm not really, so with 5 picks before Mean Gene picks here, and we're moving right along. Interesting picks here. And so who's the one guy on auto draft? Cruz?
Cruz, that would be
All right,
number
not
one.
bad this is a league of 10 players. So there are some 12-player leagues. And as much as I like the ESPN league, and we talked about this, Jacob, on the way coming over, you get into that double playoffs or double weeks where you have to
Double elimination. Play the same team twice.
That right there is hard. And last year I did it, and I do not want to go through that again.
I couldn't imagine having to rely on an average over 2 games to win in the playoffs versus just outright beating somebody. That sounds so miserable.
It's
to me.
tough. It's really tough. So, all right, we're moving right along here. We have to be really careful what we say because we're not trying to give. I think you up. Are you up?
Yeah, well, I'm up in 5 picks because I went from second to
Okay.
last. So Snake's coming around to me. But yeah,
All
you
right.
can't give out too much because they're tuned in listening to us.
Yeah, I know that. So I'm looking at what's Dustin doing there. Our Dustin Pfeiffer, who is he covers the Carolina Panthers and the Charlotte there I go again, Bobcats. Charlotte Hornets for Bally Sports Southeast. It was a time every time I said that I had to put like $1 in the jar.
Oh,
Every time I said Bobcats. I can't believe I said it because I'm so freaking focused on this draft right now that 2 picks until my turn is. So I tell you what here, I really do like I'm not gonna tell you. I see Joe Mixon there. And I know the locals here would probably want me to pick Mixon, and maybe Mixon might make my roster because, oh my Lord, someone just took my freaking running back.
Travis Kelce just went in the second round of our league.
Someone just took my running back,
There's a shift of power.
and I you know what? That's okay. I got one right now. All right, we got it.
Oh, that's a good pick, Mean Gene.
Josh Jacobs. Yeah, we just sat up here and talked about him.
Mm-hmm.
He's on a team that the running backs. That there you go. we just talked about Josh Jacobs. He's no longer with the Raiders,
Moved to
and he's
Green
with a
Bay.
team that historically has had great running backs.
And he's in a good position to win. You know, they just gave that big contract to Jordan Love. Josh Jacobs got brought in on a pretty hefty contract himself. The wide receivers are the same core that they had last year for the most part. And I think Josh Jacobs fits right in, takes Aaron Jones' spot. No problem. It'll be seamless, and he's going to have a great year for you.
All right. So, hey, my next pick. Woo, I already know. I'm just waiting. I can't say right now.
It's tough
Because-
sitting on him.
It's tough because you're just trying to make sure no one takes him. And AJ, are you learning any kind of strategy here? AJ said, "You guys suck. We're gonna do my draft completely different."
Nah, I'm just listening. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So hey, I'm listening for sure. Just trying to think about it. Because I mean, you picked Jamar Chase. That's actually a good one as well. I'm just trying to think because I mean, the favorite wide receiver obviously is going to be Justin Jefferson. But like Jacob talked about, the quarterback plays, Sam Darnold. So you never know. Even though Justin Jefferson, he can compensate for that, but still,
Sam Darnold could be good, too,
Right.
just to throw that out there.
Exactly.
He's been around the league, played for the Niners last
got
year.
My pick. See what happened. You take your eyes off the board and look what happens here. This is, oh man, it's getting really, 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 really tough here. So I know that I'm probably going to take one of these. I won't even say it. I can't tell you guys. I'm going to take a kicker next. That's what I'm going to do.
I bet
Second
you
round,
are.
I'm taking a kicker. All right. So, all right. Well, you doing good? You already made your pick?
Yeah.
You want
yeah.
to share now that you made it?
Took Nico Collins in the 3rd round. Felt like
Oh.
that was pretty fitting.
Are you being a homer?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't. So
Okay.
it's something about me. I never draft Texans players in any of my fantasy leagues. I'm terrified to touch the Texans.
So
'cause
that
of
was
bad
that was,
juju if I take him. But you know what? I think Nico's going to come on strong. I think adding Stephon Diggs is going to open him up. And I just think it fall into the 3rd round. It was worth taking a flyer on.
Okay. Well, I tell you what.
Who you gonna follow me up with?
I'm going to take this guy, even though
Ooh.
he's not hurt, but he is holding out, and that is Brandon Ayuk.
I like that pick just because if he gets
He's-
traded, he'll be a wide receiver 1.
No,
He'll
no
still
matter
get
where he
points.
goes, he's going to be a wide receiver 1.
Yep.
Yeah, and if he stays with the 49ers, you got to think they're going to make him happy, and they're going to throw him the ball.
You got to think, because if they're going to give him a bag, they're going to have to use him. So he's going to get yardage. He's going to get touchdowns. And, he's a terrific wide receiver anyways. He's he's a gadget player like Debo Samuel is. He can run the ball. He can catch it. So,
Well, I had a choice. I saw Debo there, and I just figured, okay, Ayuk's numbers were just off the chain.
yeah.
And I know this guy's going to end up somewhere. AJ, you okay with Brandon Ayuk?
Yeah, I think that's a good one for sure. I mean, he's going to end up playing ultimately because, I mean, you've heard between the past few weeks either the 49ers are close to one, a deal with him, or trading him. So,
Yeah.
either way.
And believe me, the Pittsburgh Steelers would. They
In a
can use him
Right.
after what I've seen in 2 preseason games. I'm surprised that the Texans wouldn't be in the mix, but they already got Diggs there, so no need to shake that team up. That team is already solid.
They have Diggs. They have Nico Collins. They have Tank Dell.
Just they're like, no, thank you. Don't call us.
Plenty of talent.
Yeah. The Texans are not even picking up the phone there.
No.
No, but Pittsburgh is. Somebody's waiting by the phone. Trust me. All right. How can we see what the other guys are doing? I mean, are we able to just kind of?
I think there's a way to
I'm not
expand
just
this. so you
really
can see
trying to,
it, but
because we got to keep our eyes on the prize here. So, did anyone pick up A-Chain yet? I'm
yeah.
waiting for Dustin. Did Dustin finally
gone.
take him?
yeah, right there. Too legit, two legged
Oh,
to quit.
okay. All right. Okay. So there we go. All right. So what we're already we're in the 3rd round. We're getting ready to start the 4th round.
Mhm.
Pretty good players still on the board. Diggs, Tank Dell, Zay Flowers, T. Higgins, McLaurin, Kristen Kirk, Rasheed Rice, Keenan Allen. I mean, you still got some great players on the board.
Absolutely. There's a lot of talent missing, but I think this year is going to be a lot about, because of all the movement in the offseason, this is going to be a year for gems for fantasy leagues. It's not going to necessarily be whom you draft. I think it's going to be whom comes out of nowhere and makes a difference. Kind of like Zaire White, the running back for the Raiders that got me that won the league for me last season with you. I ended up picking him up. He saved saved my
and,
entire
and,
season.
well, I tell you, unfortunately, man, a star is born sometimes like A-Chain. You don't know when they're going to sprout, but when they do, and Dustin was really lucky last year to hold on to him.
Very fortunate.
Because he came in relief for Mostert, right? So,
He did.
and yeah, I mean, but the one thing about drafting him, A-Chain now, is that Mostert is healthy, and you have to take that into consideration because you got 1 and 2. All right, tell you what, we are going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to finish our draft, but we also get to talk about the AFC West. You're listening to the Mean Gene Show right here with Mean Gene and Jacob Meadows on ESPN 97.5.
Now back to Mean Gene, broadcasting live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios.
All right, we are back here, folks, at the bottom of the hour, the Mean Gene Show right here on ESPN 97.5 with Jacob Meadows over here to my right. We are in the middle of our Sports Kings 2024 fantasy football draft. So much is taking place. Joe Mixon is gone, and what you wanted him, it sounded like.
I wanted Mixon.
Yeah.
He ended up getting taken. I ended up taking Scary Terry out of the Washington Commanders instead.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean that happens. I just got kicked out of our league. I think
It's probably not
AJ
for the-
disconnected my Wi-Fi.
Ain't nothing to do with me.
No. All right. So we are going to be talking AFC West. And we just covered in the first hour, if you missed it, it was the AFC East. We did our division picks there, and now we're going to get into a division where the Super Bowl champions represent. We're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. And look, I we can say a whole lot about the Chiefs here and what they up against here. Back-to-back champions now. They are in a position to do what's never been done, and that is to win 3 in a row. And if any team out there can do it,
It'd be
it
the
is
Chiefs.
the Kansas City Chiefs.
God, Patrick Mahomes is so good at football. But they really could be it'd be the easiest team to three-peat right now out of any roster. Patrick Mahomes is the most talented quarterback in the NFL right now. So, yeah, they could go back to back with this, which would be wild.
And we talked about what we saw yesterday with the behind the back type stuff. I mean, it just kind of seems like they're already in mid-season form. If you really want to go there, I mean, expect to see that and much more out of
It's all
the Chiefs.
routine for them.
Yeah.
Like they just do the incredible, and it's nothing but a normal day's work.
And how about adding Matt Nagy, who's a former coach,
Yeah.
is now he's on that team with Andy Reid.
How about adding Xavier Worthy, the fastest receiver in the draft, to a wide receiving core that already had an insane amount of speed, and that's all they need to beat people. Ty Hill proved that. He was the blueprint. Now that you have Xavier Worthy and Rashid Rice ready to just go gadget, get all the points for the Chiefs, so it's gonna be a wild year for Kansas City.
So and then Gus Edwards replaces Eckler with the Chargers.
Yes.
So that's going to be an interesting concept because I don't know exactly how Harbaugh is going to use him.
So the Gus Bus is a pretty similar running back to Blake Corum. It's going to be a plug and play. He's a very similar player style. The style itself is very similar to Blake Corum. He's a little faster, but I think Jim Harbaugh has created what is essentially his Michigan offense with just an elevated level of talent at the NFL. I think the Chargers are going to be a litmus test for how well somebody can do. Somebody can come out of a big school like Michigan, like Jim Harbaugh, who had previous experience but has been away from the professional game for a while. It'll be a litmus test for how they can actually respond in the NFL now, where everything is pass heavy. Michigan was not.
Yeah.
And it'll give us something. It's going to be something that's going to be very fun to watch this season.
Looking at how the AFC West finished last year was the Chiefs finishing with 11-6. Of course, they went on to win the Super Bowl. You got the Raiders who finished at 8-9, along with the Broncos who made that strong surge.
Yeah.
Right there at the end, man. They were on a roll after getting walloped by
shellacked by Miami.
71 to
yeah.
And then the Chargers 5-12. So they have made wholesale changes with that organization. No longer is Keenan Allen there as part of that team. No longer is Mike Williams.
Mike Williams
No
also
longer
gone.
is Eckler there. Now I don't know when the last time I've seen a team change like that. And then you bring in a new coach and Jim Harbaugh. I don't know. I just 5-12, not good. I don't know, and I'm not ready to make my picks yet on this division. But man, that's a big distance between their 5-12 and the Chiefs 11-6, and that wasn't even pretty for the Chiefs. But
No.
look what happened.
That you're very right. And I mean, I love Justin Herbert. I think he's a better quarterback than sometimes the media circles give him credit for. But there's a certain point that you can reach that becomes insurmountable, and losing Keenan Allen, losing Mike Williams, losing Austin Eckler, it becomes too large of a void when you lose the only players you have chemistry with. You're starting over. So this is gonna be a heck of a year.
It's going to be a heck of a year. And you talk about Herbert, man, this guy, and I love him because, I mean, he's a big quarterback. You know, I had him ranked up there with Josh Allen at one time, but we haven't seen anything. You had the weapons there. And, of course, now he went through he's on his third coach.
Yeah, growing
Which doesn't really make it even.
Doesn't help at
You know,
all.
it doesn't help at all. So I don't know what Harbaugh, now, granted, you got a quarterback, a former NFL quarterback as your coach. So that
helps. It's gotta
That
help.
helps
It's
a hell of
gotta
a lot. Yeah. So, but you also get a guy, you know, Harbaugh is just not your typical come from college to the NFL coach, you know. I mean,
you were talking about the guy that took Colin Kaepernick to a
to
Super Bowl.
a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So this guy,
Anything
I mean,
can
I
happen.
like that situation, but man, I don't know if Herbert is Harbaugh's type of quarterback.
Yeah, you know, you look at Justin Herbert, you look at J.J. McCarthy, right? The guy that Harbaugh just coached at Michigan, and you don't see a lot of the parallels, right? Because J.J. McCarthy ran a run-first offense. Justin Herbert is an absolute gunslinger. So it's going to be interesting to see how Harbaugh schemes around his quarterback, which is something that he has historically been good about doing. It'll be interesting to see how he's able to scheme around Justin Herbert's style when Herbert's still in town on a large contract and is still a very good quarterback in this league.
Yeah. And, you know, we're still doing our draft here, and I cannot find a tight end on the board that's worthy of drafting here, because we talked about it earlier, how some offenses might have a double tight end set.
Yep.
And as I look here, I don't know, I'm seeing names here that I'm like, are these my choices? These my choices? Jimmy Graham, really? Jordan Matthews? Logan Thomas? It looks like I'm going to have to draft a rookie tight
Logan
end.
Thomas could be good.
Darren Waller's not even in the league anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have Dawson Knox still available? You could push Dawson Knox for Buffalo.
This is just crazy here. So I guess I went to as a likely he might be. Okay, I need to get
That'd
down
be a good
here.
selection. I like that.
To the okay, now I'm starting to see, okay, Dallas guarded. Okay, maybe I didn't have my mouse where it needed to be. There's Dalton Schultz. Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Now we getting somewhere.
Representing H-Town.
There we go. Now we okay, we getting somewhere. So, all right. 'Cause
Dalton
I'm like,
Kincaid
where-
off the
where
board, another young
hell-
tight end.
Huh?
Said Dalton Kincaid off the board, another young tight end. Someone just took Aaron Jones, risky pick for the Vikings.
Yeah, hopefully that person finishes last. Whoever took Aaron Jones. I look here, man. I told you this is a killer league here. We talk about everybody. There's no love lost between any of us, especially Denny.
No, not even.
And you know
remotely.
what? When Denny comes on the show, AJ's gonna love him because Denny is a big time Cowboys fan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying not to connect those two, but it's gonna happen eventually.
Sounds like a reasonable person.
Yeah, he does. All right. So, but anyway, so you got the Chiefs, you got the Chargers, you got the Raiders, you got the Broncos, and let's talk about the Broncos. Let's talk about they're on TV now. Look like I don't have the score
They're
right
up
now.
17-0 last time I saw.
Is Bo Nix still playing? Look like he's giving some high five there.
Dapping people up on the sidelines, what you love
okay.
to see from a rookie.
So, all right, can we get a sound here because I'm about to make a pick here with the 57 pick here. I just drafted Dalton Schultz.
Dalton Schultz is off the board.
All right, there we go. Got me a tight end and a quality tight end at that.
He is a good tight end, though I would be worried Cade Stover might slip into a couple of his plays and take some passes off of him.
No,
Gotta be worried about that.
We're not gonna worry about that. We're not gonna worry about that. I think look, this guy, I was surprised that your Cowboys, AJ, let him go.
Well, I don't think he wanted to be there necessarily because I don't know if you heard last year too. There was some audio. He was saying like there's just a lot of like I don't know about drama, but he said something
About it being a circus.
Right, there you go.
inside.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
all the people would come and watch him work
Yeah,
out and whatnot.
yeah, it was that.
Oh, with Dallas?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
He
said
really
last
didn't like that?
There
He
was
said that on Pat
animosity
McAfee.
from
Really?
Schultz.
Oh, interesting. Huh. Okay. Well, chances are I'm going to draft another tight end. And I like what I see on the board for tight ends. Is Jacob is over there. You know when Jacob gets going there, he don't want to talk to me because he's probably picking there.
I'm trying to secure
We
the
get ready to
second
go
win in
to
a
a break
row.
anyway, so I'm going to find out what the hell you're doing anyway over there. I know you being mighty secretive, but all right. So I actually, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up the show, and we're going to make our AFC West selections here. We're going to do all of that here. You're listening to the Mean Gene Show right here on ESPN 97.5.
This is the Mean Gene Show
On ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Mean Gene.
All right, we are moving right along here. The last segment, man. This is whoa. And this draft is still moving and it's slow. We're only in the 8th round. I thought it was going to move a lot faster. I think next year I set the picks to 30 seconds.
I think we're going to have to because it felt like it was going to blow quickly, but it is definitely creeping along, man.
Yeah, it's moving mighty slow. Okay, Jacob Meadows joining me here, the host of Coach's Quarters. You can check out his podcast every week here throughout the NFL season. Also, you can check out the Sports Kings podcast, which will feature Jacob will be on that show with us, along with Dustin Pfeiffer, Denny Sharma,
Whoop, whoop.
Downtown Wayne Brown. You remember those names?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's the Sports King show. So we will do our NFL Weekly Countdown show on the iHeart podcast or wherever you get your podcast, but you can check us out every week. I'm not sure what day. It's probably going to be on Fridays, but anyway. And then, of course, you can always catch the Mean Gene show here. So we get to predict what's going to happen. And then when you guys are wrong, I get to come here on Sundays and say how right I was about those picks.
Must be nice to not have to go out on a limb and make predictions.
No accountability there whatsoever. All right. Denver Broncos in the AFC West. We talked about the turnaround that Sean Payton made last year. Of course, they're still on the hook for the Russell Wilson contract there, but Bo Nix seems to be their guy. And more than likely will be the starter going into the season. So he's just one of those rookies. He played ball in Auburn. He played in Oregon.
Yep.
The most experienced quarterback going into the NFL in history, I think.
Should be, yeah. And good for him, right? To come out and take this team over. The preseason's still going, so you don't know what ends up actually happening, grand scheme of things. But it does look like it's going to be Bo Nix's team.
Yeah, and then we just saw Tim Patrick. One of the guys looked like Broncos did have some of their starters out there, and then of course Cortland Sutton, who was he was one of Russell Wilson's
correct one
had
of his
a
top
good year
tier
last
targets.
year. Yeah. Then of course they got the running back Javonte Williams. So I just think the Broncos. I don't know, when you look at the AFC West. And I think everyone has to agree with me that only one team is going to come out of that division, and the Chiefs are definitely going to win it. You have to really be damn good to get a wild card in that division, especially when you know what the Jets, the AFC East is going to be putting out, and you know what the AFC North with Pittsburgh and those guys are going to be putting out. So I'm sorry, I don't know. I would say the Raiders maybe now would finish at the number 2. It could be a toss-up between the Raiders and the Broncos.
I think the Broncos might, if Bo Nix can play at an elevated level, if Sean Payton can just coach the mess out of Bo Nix and kind of get the jitters out, I think the Broncos could give the Chiefs a run for their money if they really needed to. I do think it'd be possible.
Well, because look, like I said, just looking at the order of finish last year, and I know there is come on with the Chargers. The Chargers are going to finish last. I just don't see how. I think they're going to be right back there where they were, giving up those wide receivers and giving up. I know Gus Edwards is just not he's not an Austin Eckler.
No, but he is a good back. He was really good in Baltimore. He's got game. It's a different game, but he's got game.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just see when you look at the order of finish, it's probably going to be just like it finished last year. You got the Chiefs, unless somewhere the Chiefs have a breakdown and the Raiders are able to take advantage of it. I got to think it's going to be the Chiefs, the Raiders, Broncos, and Chargers. Pretty much the same order of finish last year. AJ, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that as well. Because at first I was like, maybe the Chargers might do a little bit better, but now looking at it, they are kind of low, like that. They don't have a lot of talent anymore. And then the Broncos, like y'all talked about, if Bo Nix tees up, has potentially like an offensive rookie of the year type of season, they could be really good. But I think that the Raiders, they'll be second. And honestly, it depends because how the rest of the AFC, like the AFC East, y'all are saying AFC North too. But that team, how they finished last year, and talking about Las Vegas, they finished strong. And then Gardner Minshew is the starter now. they could try to contend for a wild card, but it's hard because
and see, and I might end up I think I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it now because you just brought up a good point. Antonio Pierce just made the selection, and he was trying to make that selection based on the style of play, but he didn't. They both pretty much played the same, so he had to make a selection, and probably Minshew because he's got more experience. But because the Raiders quarterback situation is so shaky, I gotta say the Broncos will be second. I'm gonna move the Broncos to finish second
I like that.
behind the Chiefs. I'm gonna put the Raiders at third, and I'm gonna put the Chargers at fourth, and that's my order of AFC because I'm not comfortable with either one of those guys. I told you on the way over
on the
here,
way
I would
here.
take Garoppolo over both of them. And knowing that, and most Raider fans would say, are you out of your mind? But no, and I think this was I'm surprised they didn't just go out and find a better journeyman type quarterback for the Raiders.
Well, shout out to all of our adventures in Las Vegas because the only thing that I'm iffy on there is the Raiders had a top 5 defense all last season without spending a dime on their defense. You still have Max Crosby. You still have all of the studs across the interior D line. You have all these corners that showed out for them that have come up. The Raiders have a good enough, they have a defense that is better than the Broncos at enough of a clip that I think that the Raiders could still end up being that number 2 team. But on paper, maybe so. In terms of play this offseason, the Broncos have got to be slotted second. It's just the Raiders have not looked great this
No,
preseason.
and the Broncos don't have the best roster per se, but they and man, this is really risky picking a team to finish second in that division with a rookie quarterback.
True.
But just looking at, I just think Bo Nix might be better than O'Connell and Minshew. And Minshew was just one of those quarterbacks that just had a great moment.
Yeah.
If you
A couple of great moments. He's
like
had
a Duck
few.
Hodges for the Steelers that
Yeah,
one year.
exactly. Yeah.
Just rattled off a couple of wins and looked exciting and woohoo, But if he was really that good, he wouldn't be with the Raiders. He would have stayed wherever he was, where he was having that success.
It's like a Josh Dobbs situation
Yeah.
from last season. Yeah.
So I got Jacoby Myers.
Oh, you took my guy. God dang it.
Because I saw him there, and like they do in the NFL draft, you have to take the best player on the board at the time. So I
Melons just took my next pick, by the way.
Melons. Well, yeah, I can't believe this draft is still going on. I got a flight to catch in the morning. As a matter of fact, tomorrow morning, heading to Washington D.C. to attend the podcast movement, which is a big convention of podcasters, broadcasters, some of the best podcasters in the world. This is pretty big.
That
So
sounds big.
I will be there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, meeting with a lot of people, some sports podcasters, and you name it, all over the country. They're gonna assemble there in the nation's capital.
How'd you get into that? How'd you find this?
Well, I wanted to attend this last year when it was in LA, but we had the Vegas stuff going on, so it was just kind of tough to make this happen. But
True.
Stephen A. Smith spoke at the one a couple of years ago, and Mark Cuban spoke because he got into the broadcast. Remember, he had that broadcast.com where you could broadcast over the internet. So just great stuff. So that's going to be happening. And of course, what else is going on this week? I do believe not this week, but on the 27th of August, which I think is a Tuesday, all teams have to trim down to 53.
Yes, sir.
So you get another week of preseason football next week. So you get the last week, which is week 3. So that should be exciting. And then next week, Jacob, the Sports King, the Mean Gene Show. I knew I was going to do that. The Mean Gene Show will be on from 3 to 5. Am I right, AJ? So we're on 3 to 5. So
Yes, sir.
We're coming on a little early. So make sure you mark that down next week, 3 to 5 Central Time. We're going to be in studio talking about the NFC East and the NFC West. And I know AJ's happy because we're talking Dallas Cowboys.
Let's go.
That's going to be a good time. And I should be joining you. I might be joining you in studio for that show as well.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
All right.
You're here.
Let's do it.
Well, let's do it. Let's do it. So that should be fun. So it says it's my time here to make a draft pick here.
Don't screw
And
it up.
someone just really got the one person that I really wanted to take. It was going to be
Ridley?
another running back.
Oh.
I am going to take, and I'm going to share this with everybody. I'm going to give Gus Edwards an opportunity.
Good. He deserves it. He's going to be a good pick.
I'm going to give Gus, even though I just talked about him. See how we are in this league. And I think I talked about him because I didn't want nobody else to take him. But my streak of drafting a rookie is going to be broken here. So this is interesting stuff. So we're going to wrap it up here, folks. We're going to get ready. And Jacob, I want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you for
doing your
having
thing.
me.
We'll see you next week.
This is a blast. I cannot wait to be back.
AJ, thank you for putting up with our crap, man.
Of
You the
course,
best.
thank y'all. I'm looking forward to being on with y'all even more.
Looking forward to it. All right, folks. Enjoy your week. Have a safe one. We'll see you back here next week on the Mean Gene Show right here on ESPN 97.5.